Okay, so who am I? What do I do? What is this for? La 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 la, right? We're gonna get into all of those questions, talk about like everything that makes me who I am. So maybe you'll know if I'm the reader for you. Right, the intention behind this is a lot of different things. Number one, I wanted to kind of explain why I call myself what I call myself, because I think there's a lot of like meaning in a name. And I think there's a lot of intention in the first impression that you make. So I'm hoping that this encapsulates my vibes. Like, I'm still in very much early stages of my life and my blind devotion to my path, but you know, this is where I'm at right now. I'm recording this from my living room floor. I just moved. The seraph, named after the highest order of biblical angels. She's my guardian and protector in my journeys here on this earth, or at least recently past. I got her in August, so 4 months, which is crazy. I've only had her for 4 months, but she's like my fucking kid, bro. She has a stellium in my 8th house. We're very close, but yeah, I'm just kind of talking now, but I think it's okay because I'm getting into the flow of things, and I'm gonna edit this up so nice, so it won't even matter. But yeah, so Island of Lions. Island of Lions. I got the inspiration for this name through the research of my actual birth name. So my birth name is Ceylon, which is the old name of modern day Sri Lanka. It's the colonial British name, which is interesting because my last name is also British, Hyde, like, you know, Hyde Park, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like, I have a lot of European ancestry, apparently. But yeah, so my name is Ceylon. If you translate that, or Sri Lanka, Simhala, all of that, it's Island of Lions. It means Island of Lions. It's supposed to be like a paradise. It's supposed to be the place or the land of a mythical subspecies of lion, literally, that is like closer in size to the tiger, that supposedly like went extinct like a while back. But it's mostly like mythical, and it's mostly just related to the culture of the Similese people, and their value of pride, royalty, and like power, personal power. So yeah, I find that a lot of lion symbolism follows me in Vedic astrology. I happen to have significant Leo placements. Yeah, so the lion imagery and symbolism kind of is really important to me. I'm like kind of somewhat of a tribalist. It's important for me to find people who are like me. But the thing that's interesting about the Leo pride like topic is that it really kind of can't help but like bring in the more Aquarian energy as well, because it's like these are two different opposite sides of the same like polarity, right? It's the bridging in between these two energies that I think is kind of really significant. So Island of Lions, to me, it's probably the more Aquarian aspect, and then I'll talk about Soldier Sekhmet later, but I think she's more like Leo for me, or like that alias, that identity is probably more of like the Leo aspect. So on the topic of that, right, I was talking about the pride of lions, how it has a community that it's loyal to. Island of Lions is the name of my TikTok handle, and that is the way that I connect, like the first way that I learned to connect with my collective, and the first time that I started to channel collective energy. So at first, my first username was I Love Lonnie, because when I first started my tarot like page, it was me sharing my readings for myself with like the world, knowing that there was going to be people who were living similar life experiences that might benefit from my insight that I was receiving from my like higher guidance. So that's what it was. It was an act of like creation from love for myself, and you know, it wasn't as much about the collective at that point in time as it was about me learning how to have confidence in my individualities, my eccentricities, the things that make me different and weird. And then the journey of learning how to sustain myself off of like all those eccentricities, how to like learn to receive the love and respect that was out there from people who were capable of seeing me for the value that exists within me, because I came from an environment where there were not people like me. So I really felt like I was pioneering in a lot of different ways in my life, and I struggled or like just had a lot of difficulty like really getting the respect from my peers and people around me who like weren't able to see my vision because their own vision from their life was restricted in a lot of ways that my vision for my life wasn't. So yeah, I found community through Island of Lions. It's a paradise. It's a mutual shared paradise. It's a safe space that I've created for myself and for people who feel like me. And I love Island of Lions. I love Island of Lions. It's definitely like I think the lighter persona of mine. It's like it's happy me, you know. I record when I feel good. It's not that I'm only trying to present myself as one way, but I genuinely find that when I'm in Island of Lions energy, I tend to be, you know, happier, more humorous, more goofy, all of that. Now, Soldier of Sekhmet has a completely different place of origin. Soldier of Sekhmet is highly concerned with the duality that, like I was saying before, but it is that more aggressive, I would say, aspect of myself. It's the more defensive aspect of myself. It's the more masculine aspect of myself, probably. It is what I think is linked very like strongly with my sense of purpose in this world, and I'll talk about why that is as I break down like the name. So Soldier of Sekhmet, I want you to think about the song like Soldier of Love by Sade, because that is like a really good idea to like kind of get started on like the vibe around this for me. And if you're not familiar with the song, there's like a couple of lyrics where she's like, damn, what did she say? She says, I'm at the borderline of my faith, I'm at the hinterland of my devotion. And she also says, I've lost the use of my heart, but I'm still alive. So this is my like activism aspect of self, right? Where I feel like Island of Lions may be more like informative. This is where I start to become more defensive and I start to pursue things more. So yes, soldier, right? So we have the like imagery, and like I've already explained that I'm dedicated to something, like I'm devoted to something, a certain way of being, a life that I want to create for myself, the life that I want to see, a world that I want to see exist, right? So I have a devotion to my own morals, my own beliefs, and also, I'll be completely honest, part of Soldier of Sekhmet is this judgment element, right? And that kind of alludes to the Sekhmet aspect of the title. So just a quick like debrief on Sekhmet. She's an Egyptian goddess. She's the daughter of Ra, the sun god, like creator god. He's like kind of like, just, you could conceptualize him as kind of just like being like Christian God, and then imagine if Christian God had like, you know, a helper. So kind of think of you could think of Sekhmet as like an archangel kind of like archetype, where she is a child of God and does God's deeds, like works on earth. Like she is not so high up, you know, she's not the light aspect itself, but she's a weapon of the light aspect. And the key phrasing there is being a weapon of, because Soldier of Sekhmet is not the most friendly she's not the most friendly like aspect. It's just so funny because as I'm explaining these things, I start to like wonder, like, are people thinking that I have multiple personalities? And then I'm like, do I have multiple personalities? I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, she's a weapon. And sekhmet, just like going back to the more literal, like informational, like interpretation of her. She's fuck, what was I saying? Okay, so yeah, she's the Egyptian goddess of war and healing. War and healing. So it seems like you know, there's like a contrast there in like the vibes, and I think that's really important to like mention, because sekhmet isn't good or bad. She merely is a weapon. It's like it's this is where I feel like we really start to break down and blur what the definition is to be good or like bad, because I feel like so much of that is subjective. But the idea here is that there is some divine karmic weighing that happens, and that all the choices that we make create like a cause and effect kind of occurrence in this world. So a lot of times these cause and effects are kind of triggered by major events, and a lot of times people's interactions can be the catalyst to these major events. And so there's just this idea of me being an extension of God in the way that I operate in the world and in the way that I can trigger events, whether for the benefit or to the downfall of the people around me, and even for myself. So it's talking about, because like she's literally like the manifestation of divine wrath on earth, for her father's wrath. And there's this strong sense of resonance with that for me, because I have like in my life experience, I know that I tend to be a highly transformational presence. It's very difficult to live inauthentically around me, because I will bring to light the inauthentic aspects of self, and I ask people around me to change. And if people around me are not capable of changing, then they have to also accept the fact that the only reason why they're not changing is because they're choosing that consciously. Because people a lot of times live in this illusion that the choices that they make, they're not really necessarily in control of, and that they're obligated to live a certain kind of life that they know is not authentic to them because of something else outside of them. And I happen to be the kind of presence that can illuminate the fact that we all are divine beings and have the ability to manifest lives that are authentic to us. And having any allegiance to something that's lower than your own higher guidance is kind of indicative of an ego problem. So the ego checking, the divine punishment, that whole like darker aspect of karma, that exists too, right? And I have a part of that within me, and that is what I feel like is represented by Soldier of Sekhmet. It's kind of like a ally for like the underdog kind of vibe as well, because so much of what makes me polarizing is my own life experiences, and like I'm not just a light person. Like a lot of the way that I even choose to like present myself in the material world is of like a potentially triggering way. Like I don't conform to like a gender binary. I'm non-religious, and you know, I don't feel the need to withhold my personal truths in this world. So I really kind of, you know, poke at a lot of people's buttons, and you know, that's something that I've had to learn to be okay with. And now that I have this stronger sense of knowing myself and knowing what I'm comfortable with and who I am outside of the presence of like everyone else, that allows me to be a role model to other people who desire the same thing for themselves. Because, you know, honestly, I didn't know that it was possible for me until like I kind of had an idea or saw someone else doing it, you know. And that's like a shame too, because like, you know, the whole seeing is believing thing, but it is true. Like it's encouraging to have someone to look up to. And that's another reason why the Soldier of Sekhmet thing, it doesn't have to necessarily just be a me thing. It's more so that this is an army, right? As many people as we can, I don't want to say convince, but there is a greater truth, right? And the more people kind of awaken to a greater truth, the more people are going to be able to kind of connect to each other. And the more that people connect to each other, the more resonance we're going to find. And the more resonance that we find, the more solutions that are available to us as a collective due to our ability to like agree on a way to move forward, like a different approach to the problem at hand. And I am excited for the opportunity to kind of connect a lot of different people who are struggling with a lot of the same things and give them the gift of feeling as if they have community and belonging, and that their opinions are valid and that their experiences are valid, because I know that a lot of the people who might resonate with me in my collective aren't like used to receiving a lot of validation for these like more emotional, internal like processes, phenomenons, and experiences, because we are so different. This is, like I was saying, is more of like the Leo side of the duality between like Island of Lions, Aquarius, and then Soldier Sec like Leo, where we really are more focused on ourselves, but not for the sake of ourselves, but because it's important for us to have a certain amount of self-love, self-respect, self-determination, self-motivation. And these are all like the themes that I think Soldier of Sekhmet really like wants to like emphasize. Emphasize, yeah. It's the fire energy, right? It's how we apply what we think, right? So Island of Lions is here to tell you like, hey, oh, I forgot to talk about another thing about Island of Lions. Island of Lions, Sri Lanka is one of the earliest Buddhist countries like ever. So they were one of the first places to get Buddhism. Whether you resonate with Buddhism or not, or if you live it, it doesn't really matter what you believe in or if you believe anything at all. Like I'll be so honest, because I'm not here to like tell you how to like see the world. But one of the like main principles of Buddhism that I resonate with is the idea that all life includes suffering. Everyone is suffering like all the time, right? It's about figuring out how to reduce that suffering by changing the way that you perceive that suffering, right? So I was saying these things kind of go hand in hand, because Island of Lions will tell you how to feel better, and then Soldier of Sekhmet will teach you how to use your strength to advocate for yourself and for other people like you. And that is like the cycle that never ends, you know? It's like the more I do for me, the more I can do for others, the more I can, you know, it's kind of just a reiteration of the connectivity between, once again, ourselves and the greater community, because Island of Lions is all about projecting out a collective energy of love that leads towards enlightenment. And then Soldier of Sekhmet is all about pushing out a collective energy of love that leads to change. Because like I was saying, Sekhmet is that war goddess. She's not coming down here to have conversations. She's coming down here to take heads. And sometimes I think we have to like have more acceptance for the shadow aspects of our own selves, because there comes a time and place when different approaches are necessary. And one of the things that I'm learning how to balance even in my own life is just like the two of these energies, where I approach something in one way. Because it's like I don't want to say either of them aren't love, right? Because I was going to say love and then hate, but that doesn't really quite seem right. Because it's not like Sekhmet is coming down here to take heads because she hates people. She's coming down here to take heads because these people are operating in defiance of Ra. And that's why it's important also, if you're like on this channel, to make sure that you yourself are in alignment with whatever higher power that you may believe in order to make sure that you're not like compromising yourself in the way that you consume these readings. And it's really important to be honest about where you yourself are or could be potentially lacking in like an egoic sense. Because we're not here to create spiritual egos, but if you are resonating with me in my energy, You probably already know that you're like a cataclysmic or a cataclysmic kind of presence because of the wisdom and vibration that you naturally operate out of, which is going to be higher than the average person due to the fact that you've gone through a process of spiritual awakening. So if all those things like don't really like resonate for you, then this might not be like the right channel for you, because I'm speaking to people who've already been on a path. And if I'm not speaking to those people, then this is like speaking to people who are at the very beginning stages of their path. And you know, but this is not like beginner shit. And if it is beginner shit, then like congratulations, you're probably going to be like a prodigy or something, because this could be a collective of prodigies. I resonate with that, so I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, just to conclude, Island of Lions is like, and Island of Lions and Soldier of Sekhmet are like my yin and yang. Island of Lions being the yin, Soldier of Sekhmet being the yang. A little bit of both exists on both sides. Like I was saying, like the lion symbolism, collective versus self energy, all of that is there in both. But you know, if I had to say which one was like lighter and which one was darker, I would say Island of Lions is the more happier one. Soldier of Sekhmet is coming with vengeance. She's bringing justice. She's deep diving. She's finding out secrets. All of that. She's spreading joy, positivity, and peace, and encouragement, and empowerment. It's a little bit different, but they still sometimes, you know, intertwine. Oh, and now I'm thinking Kundalini energy, like Kundalini activation. So this could definitely be helpful for anybody who is trying to activate Kundalini energy or already has activated Kundalini energy, which relates more to our chakra centers. You're supposed to start with your crown and then move downwards, because each chakra above whatever chakra like has dominion over that chakra. So the sooner you have control over, she's chatting. As soon as you have control over the higher chakras, the other ones seem to kind of fall into place more naturally. So if you're interested in like doing that, or knowing more about that, like leave comments for that, because I have a lot of information about the chakras. I did a lot of research. So if you want to know more about that kind of stuff, we can definitely make that into a series, and that would definitely be like more of like an Island of Lions kind of thing. Like the spreading of that kind of information is more the lighter aspect. When it comes time for us to discuss potential political movements, that would be more like Soldier of Sekhmet, because I'm really trying to integrate all these different aspects of myself, all of my different like interests and passions, and still connect them to my purpose, which I feel like is integrally like aligned with that whole Leo Aquarius axis. But yeah, thank you for listening to me talk about myself and my mission and my purpose, and I hope that if you align with it, you choose to subscribe, like the video, show some support, and like join the collective. Because we need everybody we can get, honestly. Well, with standards, right? Because like I said, like I'm looking for a specific kind of person. I'm not like in the mindset that every single person could be of benefit to me. Like I'm very realistic about the fact that like not everyone is going to resonate with me or like appreciate what it is that I bring to the table, and that's totally okay. Like I'm not really trying to convince anyone of anything. I even sometimes struggle with like wanting to educate people, because I automatically kind of assume people aren't taking me seriously, just because like, I talk about a lot of things that most people don't really talk about. At least in my day-to-day like life, personal lived experience, not so much like online and stuff. And that's the whole thing about like, you know, Island of Lions, that it's given me this perspective of like I'm not the only one who thinks this way, but also like when it comes to like walking out the door, like I haven't had a lot of fulfilling spiritually related conversations. So hopefully this can be like something that changes my mind and helps me to grow in my perspective and my lens, because if you guys want to have kind of those kinds of conversations, like I would definitely love to. I've been like sitting over here researching and reading books about stuff that I have like nowhere to talk about. And that's why I think that this is going to be super great, because this is going to give me like a video diary kind of situation, and I can tell you guys like really like what's going on, like what I'm learning, what I'm doing, and maybe it could inspire some of you guys on your missions and your journeys. Because when I first like okay, I didn't mean to like talk about this, but I'm going to real quick. So for the past like 6 months, I've been manifesting a new home. I had to run away from where I lived before, and hey baby, I had to run away from where I lived before, and I had to like just hop from like kind of place to place because I really didn't have anywhere to go. So I was really just like surviving. But the whole time I'm manifesting this new home, and there was this period of time, maybe like in October, November, when I got gifted this Bible. And for like a period of like a month, like every single day, I would open the Bible to a new page. And just a little bit of like background on me, I was raised Christian. Like I was in the church like every single Sunday when I was a kid, and I joined my first church when I was 7 years old, and then I got baptized when I was 14. And you know, I was Christian for like most of my life until maybe like 16ish, and then I started to kind of go through my like sexual awakening, and then there were just a lot of things about me that made me feel less and less connected with the Christian God the way that he was taught to me. And then I took a bit of distance time where I just was like very much rejecting the idea of God in general, because I felt that if he was real, then he was just being like unnecessarily cruel to me. But then I had my first spiritual awakening, and I found out that God is not as much like an entity or like a person like floating in the sky like surveying me at all times. It's more so the energy that connects like everything that's in existence. It's like the energy of vibration, movement, friction, all of that. Just the natural like forces that be in this world. So, and then once I thought about that, like I was like, well, then there must be divinity within me if I'm a child of God. And then I figured that, you know, I've been made in a very intentional way. And so all of this self-hatred that I kind of felt from God, or like that I had projected back onto me by that God, or I don't really know how I want to like phrase this actually. Give me a second. So yes, patriarchal God, patriarchal Christian God, patriarchal Christian white God doesn't really work with me. Like, I did the research. My ancestors were not Christian. So, or at least some of them weren't. Like I was saying, I have some mixed ancestry, so things get a little bit confusing sometimes. But my African ancestors, they did not practice Christianity until they were enslaved. And that was like a real like pivotal moment of realization for me, was that not only did it not resonate with me because of the ways that it like limited and constricted me, but the only reason why my people like in my family only ever like practiced it was because 400 years ago it was that or die. So the two of those things specifically going together just really automatically just kind of made me feel like maybe I need to like step away from the label of Christianity in general and just practice a more like non-secular, non-religious form of spirituality that allows me to have a more personal connection, because I think that was really just what I was missing, was like the personal connection that allowed me to feel like I was loved the way that I was like being told that I was loved. But the thing is that when it was in the more formal setting, that there were more formal conditions for the formal love that I was receiving. And so once I like kind of erased everything I thought I knew about what religion and spirituality had to mean or look like, I was able to kind of like redefine that for myself, and it just, everything kind of like took off from there, because I had less expectation as for what was required of me. And that just opened up the freedom for me to like open up my mind as to what was available. And opening up my mind specifically kind of ties back a lot to meditative practices that I've taken on, because that has been super interesting. I'm not the best at like sit down meditations, but active meditation in the form of any kind of creative process for me can be really, really, really insightful if I allow it to be. And yeah, I think that's pretty much like everything I wanted to say, and more. So I don't even know like where else I would take this. I think we're done. Like I was saying before, I think I was trying to close it out and then I got derailed. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that good stuff. Thank you for following me here from TikTok if that's what you did. There's already some pick a card content posted and collective messages posted, so if you guys want to check that out, to just see like what kind of reader I am if you're not familiar, you can go ahead and do that, or you can follow me over back to TikTok and watch me over there. If you find you resonate with any of that, there's more content available. I'm in the mindset of wanting to plan more YouTube content for you guys, and we're gonna see if we can get this platform to grow, because my lives keep getting taken down on TikTok and it's just like really frustrating to me. So we're just gonna have to innovate and overcome and adapt. Don't roll on the oil paint, please. But yeah, if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can. I'll put the link in the caption, as well as I'll link Soldier of Love, because I want you guys to listen to that song. I really love that song. And yeah, I think that's it. So bye.